Hello everybody, it's Chris Bezanoy, Ice TV, brought to you by icecan.com. Welcome to video 3, where we're going to go through the office areas of our medium-sized facility security system design specifically. We've already gone through the reception area, why we use access control, intrusion detection, and why we use glass break detectors specifically. Go ahead and watch that video. We're now going to go further into the facility, and we're going to talk about office areas, specifically the security office. We're going to start there. I always like to protect the security office with that access control reader that restricts access to the space, an intrusion detection door contact, which will set off an alarm should somebody happen to breach the space. I like a motion detector in this area, so it detects motion in the security office. And I also want a camera inside this office, just to make sure we give optics should anything happen inside the space. The reason why we want to protect the security office is twofold. One, there's usually sensitive information found in a security office. There's some security incident reports. Maybe there's an internal investigation. There's maybe some security clearances are kept inside the security office. Either way, some sensitive information is generally locked away in the security office. But also, the security office gives access to the access control system, intrusion detection, and video surveillance through way of monitoring systems. Usually a security office will have a computer with monitor screens where you can do anything you need to with the access control. You can do video surveillance, viewing of the monitors. You can do intrusion detection, arming and disarming, that sort of thing. So it's generally a security hub. I really like this design because it comes with a transaction window. We talked about that in another video. I'll touch on it lightly here. This transaction window is like a bank transaction window. It gives the ability for somebody to come into reception if they're authorized to do so and pass maybe small parcels back and forth through this transaction window. Maybe it's just an envelope. Maybe it's just mail delivery. It could be something that needs to be signed. Either way, it prevents the need for somebody just to come into your facility and walk all the way through your offices. You kind of stop them in reception and allow a transaction to happen through this small window. This is ideal because not only is it see-through because it's glass, it's also caught on camera. Everything's protected from camera inside of this office area. Very nice feature for a security office. As we continue along, I really like this design also because the IT room, which let's face it, is the hub of your electronic security and of course any electronics within your facility, is protected from the security room. In other words, you have to go through the security room to get into the IT room. We also like to protect this IT room with access control readers. We got a door contact. I'll put a motion in here and I'll put a camera in here. All nicely protected because this IT room is I would say is the second most protected room in your entire facility. This is where the access control system could be, intrusion detection, video surveillance servers. You'll have your telecom, your internet, all that kind of stuff goes through your IT room. Very important room to protect. And of course, we're protecting even more because it's behind a security office. As we continue along, we've got the staff room. I wouldn't put any protection on a staff room. There's no need. Staff have already authenticated themselves through these two doors, already been inside the facility. No reason to restrict access to the staff room. We will protect this room with a glass break detector. We talked about that in the reception video. Basically, these are acoustic glass break detectors. We will protect glass with those just in case somebody tries to breach the facility through the glass. Moving along, we've got an emergency exit. Always protect emergency exits with a door contact and back that emergency exit up if you can with a motion detector. Again, we talked about dual factor authentication of an alarm in the reception video. The idea is that we've got two alarms going off, which generally means it's a real alarm versus a nuisance alarm. Emergency exit will always have a crash bar, generally will have a crash bar, so we can still put a door contact on it and still back up that door with a motion detector. I generally like to have camera coverage within a hallway that eventually leads to an emergency exit, so most likely I would have put a camera right here that just shoots down this hallway. It doesn't go into any change rooms. That's a big no-no. Don't ever put cameras in a change room or a washroom. Nonetheless, I probably would have put a camera facing down this hallway just in case because of this main exit door and because of the front reception entrance. As we continue along, this is a mechanical electrical room. I sometimes call it mechanical engineering room. It's basically the same thing. I wouldn't protect this room. You could have a high security keyway if you really wanted to. Issue that key to authorized staff, maybe a mechanical person that's working in your facility. Something to that effect, you can if you wanted to. I generally don't because there's really nothing in this room of value. It's mechanical, it's electrical. If anybody's going to come in and try to cut the power to your facility, they don't cut the power to your security systems. Those are always backed up. I'll explain that as we go through this video series. Nonetheless, this room, there's really nothing of value inside this room, so I leave it usually open. Generally, the water room I'll leave open also, except in this case, I'm not going to because of this overhead door right here. We're going to want to protect that overhead door because it is technically a entrance for somebody that wants to breach the facility. We protect it through a door contact, much the same as a door contact for a swinging door. This is a door contact for an overhead door, usually installed on the ground or sometimes maybe on the track of the overhead door, and it does the same thing as all other door contacts. If somebody should happen to open this door without being authorized, it will set off an alarm. It will not necessarily detect if somebody smashes through the overhead door. It will just detect whether or not the door has been opened without somebody presenting a credential or disarming the intrusion detection devices for the room, which is why we want to back up this overhead door with a motion detector. We keep talking about motion detection. It is a great secondary line of authentication for an alarm. If somebody happens to open this door or breach through this door, the motion detector is going to pick them up and give a secondary alarm. We're also going to protect this water room with a door contact. Why? Because this is a point of entry potentially. Yes, we will get a door contact alarm. Yes, we'll get a motion alarm, but I want to know how far somebody's gone through a facility. You'll notice I will strategically place devices in areas where I can tell police where somebody is in the facility based on where the alarms were last triggered. In this case, I'll put a door contact here. I want to know, did somebody come into the water room and then enter into the offices? I'll know that because this door contact would have gone off and potentially this motion detector that we talked about earlier would have picked up the motion. Now I know for sure they came through this door, they walked through the water room, set off motion detection, went through this room, set off a door contact, set off another motion, and continued on. Last thing, I'm going to protect this water room with a camera, mainly because of this overhead door. It does lead to the outside. If this overhead door wasn't here, I probably wouldn't even protect this room. There'd be no need. But because there's an overhead door leading to the outside, I will put a camera in here so that we can do incident investigations should something happen, always being recorded. As we continue along, we've got an office. We will protect this glass with a glass break detector like any other glass. That's just an extra precaution for security. This sends off an alarm should somebody happen to breach the glass. I don't tend to put access control on office doors. I see no reason for it. Generally, an office will have a lockable cabinet, and that key will be held by the person that's in the office. So I don't tend to protect offices. You could put a high security keyway on here if you wanted to. I don't tend to put access control unless a client wants me to. As we move along, we've got a washroom here. I never restrict access to a washroom. It's never under lock and key. It's never under intrusion detection or video surveillance. Yes, you can lock it from the inside for privacy reasons, but I don't put a high security keyway. I definitely don't put cameras inside washrooms, and there's no need for intrusion detection. Same thing with change rooms. I never put cameras inside change rooms. I don't need to put video surveillance inside change rooms. I don't need to put intrusion detection. I don't need to put access control. There's no need for it. I don't put access control on this door. I don't put access control on this door. The reason being, an employee would have had to have already gone through reception, 2 doors into reception to gain access to this space. If they've gone through the first door and they've gone through the second, they're generally allowed into the facility, at least into the office areas. Keep in mind, we're restricting access to production through this wall. As we continue along, no access control needed, in my personal opinion, for any change rooms. This is the men's, this is the women's. There's no need to restrict access into this space. There's no need to put intrusion detection. Nobody's going to break into your facility, come in here and say, I'm going to go through your locker. They're definitely not going to use showers. They're not going to get gowned and start cultivating for you. So there really is no need to put intrusion detection on these doors or cameras inside the space. Definitely no cameras inside of these washroom areas. The next video, we're going to go through gowning and the main hallways, but this is a typical security design for a typical office space. There could be situations where you may add more cameras. Maybe there's some sensitive information you want to protect through access control. Definitely talk to your security designer to make sure we understand what it is you're trying to protect. We know generally how a system works or how a facility is laid out. We know where the vulnerable places are. But you may have something that you're trying to protect that we don't even know about. Let us know. We can add security devices to it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Video number 3 talking about the front office areas. We're going to go into video 4. We're going to talk about gowning and main hallways. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. This informative video was brought to you by icecan.com, the industry's first marketplace for new and used equipment. Whether you're looking for brand new equipment for your cannabis venture, maybe you're looking for some used equipment, we can easily source that for you and ship it to you anywhere in the world, right to your front doorstep. Maybe you're looking for some services. We know a lot of great people in this industry. You've been around for the past 10 years. We can easily help you and refer you to anybody that you may need, whether it's advisory services, regulatory compliance, maybe you're looking for some funding for your cannabis venture. Either way you look at it, we can easily help source that consultancy or that service you may need. Once again, thanks for watching. This is ICE TV, brought to you by icecan.com.